Ladies and gentlemen, please stand. Their Excellencies, the Right Honourable Dame Patsy Reddy, Governor-General of New Zealand, and Sir David Gascoigne.
Taia, tēnei momo taia, tēnā momo. Whakamānawatia, whakamānawatia te toki atu, whakamānawatia te rau ōrongo. Oi whiwhia te tohu, oi rawea te tohu, oi tamaua te tohu. Taungata rautia te tohu, haumi e, hui e, tāiki e.
E ngā mana, e ngā reo, e ngā iwi o ngā hoe whā. Tēnei aku mihi mahana ki a koutou. Nau mai haere mai rā ki te whare kawana. Kia ora tātou katoa. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Government House. I specifically acknowledge the Honourable Opito William Seal, Minister of the Crown, the Honourable Fiame, Deputy Prime Minister of Samoa, our kuia, Te Rupawai Higgins, and our kaumātua, Professor Pirishasha. Tēnā koutou. It's a great pleasure to host this investiture ceremony and bring together 16 honour recipients along with their family and friends to recognise the contributions they've made to our country. As Governor-General, I have the authority and the privilege on behalf of Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth, the Queen of New Zealand, to hold an investiture for her and to confer the honours to which each recipient is entitled. Ladies and gentlemen, as each one is honoured, I invite you to join me in thanking and congratulating them for their service to our country. Mr. Hewitt Humphrey will now summon the recipients and read a citation for each one.
Your Excellency, to receive the insignia of a Dame Companion of the New Zealand Order of Merit, the Honourable Luamanuvau Dame Winnie Laban of Lower Hutt for services to education and the Pacific community. The Honourable Luamanuvau Dame Winnie Laban was appointed Assistant Vice-Chancellor, Pacifica, of Victoria University of Wellington in 2010 and has since provided strategic advice, direction and support for Pacific students and staff, increasing enrolments and raising Pacific achievement. Dame Winnie has been patron of the Wainuiamata Pacifica Education Success Initiative since 2013 and patron of the Cancer Society Relay for Life since 2008. She's patron for the Wellington Pacifica Business Network and Wellington Rugby League. She's been a member of Creative New Zealand Arts Council since 2014 and was chair of the Pacific Arts Committee from 2013 to 2014. Since 2017, she's been a member of the Australasian Association for Institutional Research, the New Zealand Institute of Directors, the Commissioner of Police's National Pacific Advisory Forum, and an auditor for the Academic Quality Agency for New Zealand Universities. She's been a member of the National University of Samoa Council since 2012 and the Institute of Digital Studies Board since 2011. Dame Winnie is currently involved in a project in partnership with Wellington City Council and Victoria University of Wellington to construct a multipurpose whale malai in the Wellington region. In recognition of the high-level honour that Dame Winnie is receiving, Dame Patsy will now place the korowai, kahurangi, around her shoulders. Your Excellency, to receive the insignia of an Officer of the New Zealand Order of Merit, Ms. Jacqueline Grant of Hokitika for services to the community. Jackie Grant was a member of the Human Rights Review Tribunal for several terms. She was a community representative on the Benefit Review Committee for Work and Income New Zealand on the West Coast and a member of the Grey District Council. She's a member and former chair of Enterprise Hokitika. She was treasurer and a founding member of the Chrissy Witoko Memorial Trust, which was established to alleviate hardship caused by illness or death in the Wellington gay and transgender community. She's headed fundraising and beautification projects in Hokitika and is an active member of the Hokitika Lions Club. Having fostered more than 75 young people, Ms. Grant has remained involved as a foster nan for the children of those she previously cared for. Ms. Karen Rangi of Napier for services to the Pacific community and governance. Karen Rangi is an accountant auditor who founded A Mua Consulting Limited. She was National President of the Pacific Women's Council, Pacifica Incorporated. She's Chair of Pacific Island Home Care Services Trust and a trustee of Te Matau a Maui Voyaging Trust. She's an associate of the Centre for Social Impact New Zealand and was a trustee of the Eastern and Central Community Trust. She is a director of the Cook Islands Investment Corporation in Rarotonga and of Pacific Incorporated Limited, and is a past trustee and chair of the Pacific Business Trust Board. She was part of the inaugural Pacific Women's Economic Development Advisory Board and a founding member of the Charities Registration Board. Ms. Rangi is currently the Deputy Chair of the Arts Council of New Zealand. Mr. Roger Shepherd of Wellington for services to the music industry. Roger Shepherd established the music label Flying Nun Records, which championed the emerging music of Christchurch and Dunedin with the early releases of The Pin Group, The Clean, and the seminal Dunedin Double EP. Through Flying Nun, Mr. Shepherd has provided an outlet to New Zealand musicians, particularly young musicians, who would not otherwise have had their music recorded or released. A number of these artists have gone on to sign record deals overseas. Mr. Shepherd's peers in the music industry regard him as an inspiration and a pioneer, and a man who put personal financial gain aside in the interests of the artists. He remains involved as a company director of Flying Nun and released the book In Love with These Times, My Life with Flying Nun Records in 2016. Mr. Graham Tidcombe of Wellington for services to the home support sector and the community. Graham Tidcombe is the former CEO of Access Home Health, now Access Community Health, a provider of home-based health and disability services owned by Rural Women New Zealand. As CEO, he led the consolidation of a range of rural support services into a national service and oversaw significant growth. He was elected president of the New Zealand Home Health Association, in which role he was a strong advocate and driver of several key outcomes for the home support sector. Mr. Tidcombe has held leadership positions with the Rotary Club of Karori and was treasurer of the Rotary Sanctuary Discover area and a founding trustee of the Karori Community Hall Trust. He is chair of Karori Community Bus and provides voluntary accounting support for the Marsden Day Care Trust. Your Excellency, to receive the insignia of a member of the New Zealand Order of Merit, Mr. Brian Clark of Upper Hutt for services to the state. Brian Clark worked in the justice sector for 31 years, rising to the position of Registrar General and Chief Electoral Officer in the Lower Hutt office. He spent 21 years with the Department of Internal Affairs, holding a number of leadership roles, including that of General Manager, Strategic Projects, Information and Knowledge Services. He contributed to the organisation of 3 general elections, the computerisation of the Births, Deaths and Marriages Registry, the establishment and leadership of the Government Chief Privacy Office, the establishment of a Chief Security Office for DIA, and the implementation of the Enterprise Content Management Project for DIA. Dr. Judith Davey of Wellington for services to seniors. Judith Davey is the Lower North Island's regional representative for the New Zealand Association of Gerontology. She's a senior research associate at the Institute of Governance and Policy Studies at Victoria University of Wellington. Previously, she was director of the New Zealand Institute for Research on Ageing. She's a member of the Age Concern New Zealand policy team and a volunteer visitor for Age Concern's accredited visiting service. Dr. Davey is currently working with Age Concern and the University of Auckland on a national science challenge, Ageing Well Study, and is part of the research team for an MB-funded project on maximising workforce participation for older New Zealanders. Ms. Rebecca Mellish of Featherston for services to Maori and governance. Liz Mellish is chair of the Palmerston North Reserve Trust. She was an executive committee member of the Federation of Maori Authorities and chaired the Te Ture Whenua Maori Technical Advisory Group. She's a director of Hikoi Koi Management Limited, MetLife Care Palmerston North, and property development company Haukawakawa Limited. She's a trustee of Whariwaka o Pōneke Charitable Trust and a director of its commercial arm. She's been chair of Ruaputiaki, Natural Resources Advisor for Te Ati Awi Iwi, and advisor to Whaiora Masterton for its Whānau Ora service. Ms. Mellish sits on the Maori Heritage Council of Heritage New Zealand. Dr. Catherine Saville-Smith of Marlborough for services to seniors and housing. Dr. Kay Saville-Smith is a sociologist whose research focuses on optimising the interface between households, communities, industry and government. She's a director of the Centre of Research, Evaluation and Social Assessment. She's currently leading programs in the Ageing Well and the Building Better Homes, Towns and Cities National Science Challenges. She's advised the Mental Health Commission, councils and the Commission for Financial Capability and has led groundbreaking public good research. She served on the Lifetime Design Foundation Council and on ministerial advisory committees on warm homes and house prices. Dr. Saville-Smith is a trustee of Marlborough Sustainable Housing Trust and a judge for the Cawthron Marlborough Environment Awards. Mr. Stephen Sedley of Wellington for services to the Jewish community and music. Stephen Sedley, a child survivor of the persecution of Jews in Hungary, migrated to New Zealand soon after World War II. He was president of the Wellington Jewish Community Centre and is the founding chairman of the Holocaust Centre of New Zealand. He led the first adult education program on the Holocaust in association with Victoria University. He was the inaugural president of the Hutt Valley Chamber Music Society and helped organise a series of Kristallnacht concerts. He's written on the composer Richard Fuchs, the philanthropists Annie and Max Dexton, and Jewish writers in New Zealand. Mr. Sedley is a volunteer support worker for New Zealand Red Cross Refugee Services. Mr. Yikun Zhang of Auckland for services to New Zealand, China relations, and the Chinese community. Yikun Zhang is founder and chairman of Chaoshan General Association and honorary chairman of Shaozhou Association, through which he's organized a range of events and initiatives for the Chinese community. He established a youth branch of Chaoshan and a scholarship scheme for young achievers. He organised a number of New Zealand enterprises to attend the Canton 21st Century Maritime Silk Road International Expo in China. He organised an economic and trade cooperation conference between New Zealand and Hainan, China. Mr. Zhang played a key role in securing hosting rights for Auckland to host the 20th Chiao-Chu Convention. Your Excellency, to receive the Queen's Service Medal, Mrs. Dorothy Burgess of Gisborne for services to people with disabilities, particularly the blind. Nola Burgess has had a long involvement with the Blind Foundation. She played a key role in opening a centre for the blind building in Gisborne. She helped introduce a blind craft section at the Gisborne Agricultural and Pastoral Show. She raised thousands of dollars for riding for the disabled. She's represented blind bowls at all levels and won the New Zealand Champion of Champions Cup 6 times. She was a member of the Tairāwhiti Disability Advisory Group and worked on the Gisborne District Council's disability strategy. She was the coordinator for the Sunshine Service transport service for the elderly. Ms. Glenn MacDonald of Wellington for services to art and the community. Glenn MacDonald is the coordinator of Vincent's Art Studio, a community-based initiative providing access to arts and craft facilities, skilled tuition and materials. She's maintained a place where people with disabilities, those moving into the community from institutions, the unemployed, people on low incomes, and anybody from the wider community can engage in visual arts. Vincent's Art Workshop runs an outreach program in the psychiatric ward at Wellington Hospital and previously ran a program at Arohata Women's Prison. Ms. MacDonald helped establish King Street Artworks in Masterton and is a volunteer staff mentor at Arts Access Aotearoa. Mrs. Susan Miller of Upper Hutt for services to conservation. Susan Miller is a retired entomologist previously employed at the Wallaceville Research Centre in Upper Hutt. She's volunteered hundreds of hours to conservation projects, sharing her extensive botanical knowledge. She coordinates and runs working bees, clearing weeds and rubbish, and planting native bush in the Upper Hutt and Greater Wellington region. She supervises and trains volunteers in planting native seedlings and removing pest species weeds. For years, she's gathered local native seeds, raising them in the Forest and Bird Upper Hutt Plant Nursery. Mrs. Miller is a long-standing member of the Wellington Botanical Society. Mr. Alan Shepherd and Mrs. Glenys Shepherd of Upper Hutt for services to conservation. Alan and Glenys Shepherd have been involved with a range of environmental endeavours, both on their own and as members of the Wellington Botanical Society and the Upper Hutt branch of the Royal Forest and Bird Society. They've made significant contributions to controlling local predator populations. Their volunteer work has encompassed efforts to support native forest regeneration by planting seedlings, destroying invasive plants, removing rubbish, and maintaining pest traps. They're members of Friends of Mana Island Incorporated. They volunteer with Plateau School, helping children plant, care for, and harvest fruit and vegetables. Mr. Shepherd photographs the volunteer work for publication in newsletters and online, and maintains the history of the Upper Hutt Forest and Bird branch. Your Excellency, the investiture is concluded.
An investiture ceremony is the most important event that I hold on behalf of Her Majesty, the Queen of New Zealand. It allows me, as Governor-General, to recognise and thank an extraordinary group of people on behalf of all New Zealanders. By using their talents to make ours a better society, whether by service to their communities or by their leadership in diverse areas of endeavour, or their commitment to excellence in their own field of expertise. Our recipients have set a fine example to others, encouraging them in their own endeavours. To the recipients, it's been a privilege to hear your stories and appreciate the qualities that have enabled you to serve others, to achieve success, or to make an outstanding contribution in your own field. In your own way, each of you has helped to make New Zealand a better place to live. In some cases, your influence and the positive impact of your work has extended beyond our shores. Your actions and the stories we've heard reflect the spirit of the words of Mahatma Gandhi when he said, "The best way to find yourself is in the service of others." Your service has enriched the cultural, social and economic fabric of Aotearoa, New Zealand. Please wear your insignia with pride, knowing that your communities appreciate and value the impact of your work and are inspired by your example. On behalf of the Queen of New Zealand and all New Zealanders, I congratulate you on your achievements and I thank you for your service to our country. Kia ora tātou katoa. Ladies and gentlemen, that almost brings to a close the formal part of today's ceremony. But before we go through for refreshments, I would ask you to stand and we'll sing the national anthem in Māori and in English. Thank you.